Does this look familiar?
What is freedom of speech? It's the freedom to speak. It's political correctness. It's simply manipulating the target population to silence itself.
Migrants crossing the Med, likened them to cockroaches. I said that, and I stand by it.
Well, is there something wrong with generating money? It's like, it depends on what you're going to do with the money. Spend it all on hookers and cocaine?
How dare you! You have stolen my dreams and my childhood with your empty words. And yet, I'm one of the lucky ones.
Shut up, you cunt!
Many media outlets, many platforms don't really want to give me an opportunity to speak, just want to write slanderous articles about me without interviewing me in the first place. So I take every opportunity that I can get to speak. Puts me in a box. It reduces me. I do not have any hate for Greta. It is not true that most scientists agree that climate change is being man-made.
All night. All night. All night. All night. All night. All night. All night.
Only need a call plus me.
All night. All night. All night. All night. All night. All night. All night.
Only need a call plus me.
All night. All night.
All night.
All night.
All night.
All night.
All night.
All night.
Only need a call plus me.
All night.
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 Only need a call plus me.
Hello. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. And today is Wednesday, the 29th of June, 2022. And we have, looking very, very Ferrari red, the one and only Banksy style. You're on mute, Banksy. Hello.
Hey. How's it going, everyone? Hope you're good, Manny. Almost didn't make this one. You left it to the last second on that one. So how is everyone? Sorry?
Did you fall asleep?
Actually, kind of dozed off. I was actually in the middle of. Hold on, sorry, my necklace is on backwards. How can Satan possibly worship? How can I possibly worship the Prince of Darkness when I'm wearing them? When I'm wearing my pendant backwards. But yeah, I did kind of doze off slightly. Ironically, today we're discussing and defending, or possibly talking about Christian fundamentalists, and I'm wearing the sign of the Almighty Prince of Darkness himself.
The inverted star.
Hold on. I have actually
Inverted
taken off my
headpiece or
earphone.
So why are you
what
wearing
you're saying? Now I can. Okay, we're back.
So why are you wearing that?
To piss off people.
Which people?
Whoever's watching. Who believes in this crap?
So you don't think there's no positivity in religion?
Nothing to do with positivity or negativity. Anyone who believes that this little thing and this little star, which by the way is actually a pagan symbol, which the Christian church turned into the symbol for the devil in order to propagandize against pagan religions. Anyone who believes in these things, then if they're stupid enough to believe it, then they deserve all that is coming to them.
So, do you think there's anything to study when it comes to symbolism, or you think?
Oh no. Again, symbolism, fine. You see, the thing is, you're taking superstition, and then are assigning real things like you said. Are there any positivity to religion? Yes, I believe that there are, or certainly in man's history there were positive aspects. Religion brought a lot of law and order, effectively, to to society. It stabilized a lot of chaotic sort of civilizations. So yeah, there was a lot of good aspects that religion brought, which in a weird way, as we forget religion, or as we are actually kind of thrown at, we're throwing out religion out of our societies, certainly the Western societies. I think there's as they say, you throwing out the baby with the bathwater. There's been elements of that stability and that sort of law and order aspect of society, which is also being thrown out with it. A lot of people are living a very chaotic existence because they don't have inner stability, and I think religious practices, be it Abrahamic, or I personally prefer the more superior Dharmic religions, brought those things.
It's your favorite
Joe Baz.
What's he? what can we call him? The Twitter
stalker. My Twitter stalker. Your Twitter stalker as well, by the looks of things.
Yeah, Joe, I would go get a job. That's what I would do.
I know he's that Age of Marriage video, my original live stream. Good job, that is available. That was literally about a month ago that I did that, and now only a matter of a few days ago, EF Darwa, or whatever the Darwa channel is, decided to put up a highly edited version of that, like the bit where Abbas gets owned on his own claims that human biology hasn't changed for thousands of years. He claimed that 1500 years ago little girls literally were developing at a different rate biologically to modern girls now, like they had somehow different biology and different physics, and that's not true. The doctor who he brought on to kind of debunk me debunked him on that very fact. 1500 years ago, human beings were not that much different to they are now. In fact, hardly any changes have taken place in a 1500 year period. It's ridiculous for people who try to. I mean, I personally think it's the pedo defense. I put it nowadays. I'm just looking at it as noncery defense, which is what Muslims are doing. And Joe Bass, you posted a video of another guy who was trying to justify 9-year-old marriages as well. I saw that one, by the way. Don't think I didn't see the one that you posted. Yet another Muslim trying to defend noncery. It's unbelievable how this is what Voltaire said. And ironically, Raj, Speaker's Corner, was on Jordan M's channel on a panel the other night, and they were both Abbas and Raj both quoted Voltaire, and I will give you a Voltaire quote. Voltaire said, "Those who can make you believe in absurdities will make you commit atrocities." That is actually in my Twitter bio. Go and look that up. And that is exactly what this Mohammedan cult is like. That those who make you believe in absurdities will make you defend atrocities. Muhammad's crime against humanity of marrying a 9-year-old or marrying a 6-year-old, consummating it at the age of 9, has perpetuated throughout history for 1500 years now, where men of 50, 60, 80 years old are marrying 9, 10-year-olds. That's the crime that that was the legacy of Muhammad in reality. And now we've got modern people like Abbas and this other idiot that Joe Baz posted defending it, literally making entire videos defending noncery. Dude, no one's gonna, in 1500 years from now, no one's gonna be sitting making videos defending Jimmy Savile. But I guarantee you there'll be some idiot out there trying to defend Muhammad's fucking actions. Okay. This is the insanity.
Before it becomes a Banksy rant, let's keep the show on track. So, two things I want to start it off with. Obviously, Patton's situation. I'm going to share Street Mike live stream in a sec. Street Mike, if you're listening or watching, I'm going to show some of your footage. I hope you don't mind. We're going to be commentary throughout anyway, so even if you do have an issue with it, you're not going to be able to do much about it.
Well, it's fair use, and also, we are giving full credit to Street Mike and also Busker. Busker's also got the footage. We got to really cut between Busker's video because Busker captures the moment where the man steals.
Yeah, actually, I've just flicked through Street Mike's thing, and there's other things in that video that I don't really want to see. So I'm just going to use Busker's, and also Busker. When you see me out and about, just once in a while, just say hello. So I don't think you have an issue with me because you might hurt my feelings.
Did he see you when you were at the park on Monday?
He was standing next to me. He was standing next to me. I said, "All right, Busker, is it all right?" I said, "Why is it that you never say hello to me? Why is it that he always expects me to turn around and acknowledge him?" Anyway, I've got his number now. It's 0753621. All right. So let's start. Right, we're gonna have to make an agreement, Banksy, that we're not going to favour anybody, and we're just gonna say it as it is, and we're gonna call out the people. We're gonna call out. So video number one. Let's. So this is from Busker's channel. You guys can go over and watch the video there.
Yep. Like and subscribe, Busker's channel. Although he's much bigger than us anyway, so we're not really.
So that is the point when the Quran is snatched from her. So there's Muslim gentlemen there that are holding the other guy back.
Well, that's the bit that actually you can see on Street Mike's video. You can clearly see this man here. I mean, right now, Manny, this screen is so small. I don't know if the audience can see anything.
Yeah, no, I think the audience can see it. I know you always have an issue with my screen sharing, but they want to see my beautiful face as well as what we're commentating from. Now, if it was just your image, fine, I'd understand they may not want to see that, but come on. All right, everybody, can we just settle this argument? Because Banksy really irks me. Are you guys blind or can you see the screen here?
It's too small. It's too. I would volunteer. At least make the video full screen. You've got the screen is already shrunk in the StreamYard environment as well as shrunk in your browser. No, make the video full screen.
Don't talk to me like that. I'm not your bitch.
But it's just whatever, right, man. Whatever. You wanna comment. You want people to just look at it and go, oh, God, another low production from Speaker's Corner Online.
Yeah, another low production. Now you sound like that Islamist terrorist. Go Speaker's Corner.
But yeah, you see the man with the hat, the man with the little thingy hat. No, go back. This is you've gone way too far. Go back. Okay. Yeah, no. Now you've gone too far. Okay, play it, and then we'll pause it, and I'll tell you when to. Okay, pause it now. Now you see this guy here with the Middle Eastern kind of turban-looking thing, as well as the other guy with the little Islamic kind of, I would like to say the Islamic yarmulke version. These two planned to stop in front of Hatun in order to stop her from getting to the guy who stole them. So this was all a coordinated event. This wasn't some random thing. The guy with the black top and all that, he was. I mean, this is actually. If you play Jay Smith's video, I don't know. Have you ever seen Jay Smith?
But we've got a lot to go through. We can't dissect it. I want to have a conversation about it. This is just really to set the scene.
Yeah.
About what went on. But let's just watch it and then we'll comment on it afterwards.
But yeah. Those guys get in the way so that the guy can get away, and of course he got away. And all the Muslims are screaming Allahu Akbar, Takbir. And Hatun kind of goes over to try to find the police, actually. And by the way, look at this. The police are nowhere to be seen. Now, I don't know what time this is in Speaker's Corner, but the police are literally... I mean, normally there's a police van right here, right where Hatun is. There's usually a police car or a van parked. They're not even there. They're not even in earshot. There's literally no policing right now of Speaker's Corner. Hatun could have been stabbed, beaten to a pulp. No, there would be no police in sight. There you go. That was the man who stood in front of Hatun to stop the thief from catching the thief. So that was one of them, and then there was another smaller, skinnier guy. To me, this is blatant Muslims thieving. This is, I mean, I don't know what Muslims believe in. I don't know what 10 Commandments they believe in or they don't. But Muslims are thieves at Speaker's Corner. Be wary of Muslims at Speaker's Corner. They are thieves, out and out thieves and liars, because they went ahead and denied the theft. Which, I mean, have you seen Soko film, by the way? Have you seen that video?
No, not yet.
Soko film.
So I'm just going to forward it on to until the police make an entrance.
Yeah. Eventually, some idiot police show up. Where the hell?
Look at these bunch of pussies. Look at this.
This is pathetic.
Look at this bully. Look at how he's gripped her. A small 5-foot woman gripped her with such menace, and he's brushed her through. And you know this little red thing at the back. He is now taken over PC Barnes' position, and he was the one that handcuffed her. What a man! His wife and children must be so proud. Look at this. What a disgusting.
This is. I mean, this is the pathetic shape of British policing. I mean, I just call it Sharia policing now. This is just Sharia police.
Look at the state
you can. This is. Do you know? The funny thing is, I posted a video of Paul Joseph Watson. The police have stopped investigating burglaries in Britain because of lack of resources. But this is what they can do. They can arrest a woman who's had her property stolen. They will arrest you. In this country now, is the state of affairs is that if a Muslim complains about you having them stolen something from you, the police will arrest you for the sake of the Muslims at the park now. This is the state of British policing. is that if the Muslims, I mean, this to me, I honestly don't know where we can go from here, because I suspect that the Muslims can basically mug people now at the Speaker's Corner, and the police will arrest you whilst you're bleeding out if they've stabbed you in order to steal your shoes or something.
Just look at the state of this. I mean,
dude, you've zoomed in too much. Now you got to zoom back out and then make it a full screen.
It's okay. We've seen the main stuff anyway. But if I was just any one of these so-called men, I'd just eat shit and die at this very moment. Like manhandling Hatoun, a small woman, regardless of her politics. You know, in that way, the way this guy walks with such menace is just disgusting. Imagine if you're his partner or your children, relatives watching him do that. You'd be so embarrassed. And it's not because whatever Hatoun is. I mean, even if it was a Muslim lady, this is just despicable. It's just embarrassing. And of course, all these thugs around that's orchestrated it, they're clearly working in tangent with the police. Maybe not literally, but by default, they've clearly worked you know, in partnership with the police for this situation occur. They've manipulated the police, or whatever the situation is. It's just poor. But
yeah, it's disgraceful, absolutely disgraceful on like so many levels. I hope this kind of footage, goes far and wide everywhere. I mean, we don't even have to. We're small fries. David Wood has played this and talked about this. Jay Smith. I mean, you know, Hatoun luckily has very, very popular Christian friends. David Wood has got like 700,000 subscribers. And she actually the other night offered to actually give the channel to Hatoun. If Hatoun, because David Wood wanted to delete and shut down his entire YouTube channel. But he is now getting offers from other people to buy the channel because of such a large subscriber count. And he actually offered it to Hatoun. He said, you can have this channel if you want, and just put your videos on here.
All right, well, you know, good for him. But let's just, all right, so that's what's happened. And then I went, on behalf of Speaker's Corner online, I went over to the 150-year
just before we venture too far away from this subject, before you get into that.
No, we're staying on this subject.
Are we? Oh, okay. Yeah. Because I do have a piece of footage that I'd like to share as well.
No, we're staying on this subject, and what I was going to say that so those speeches started happening, and then out flopped. Okay, so you're going to show the Quran now, aren't you? The one that was stolen.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, let's do that, and then we move on, because I want to discuss. I want a full-on discussion. People can join in, as in they can come on the panel. We're going to dissect and we're going to discuss who effed up Speaker's Corner. But let Banksy play this.
Yeah, this is, as some people might know, this is Omar. Some people know him as Jihadi Omar. He's actually been banned from Speaker's Corner and also been charged by the courts for harassing, and I forgot what the exact charges were, but it was against Paul Williams, the homosexual Muslim in Speaker's Corner. He's actually now, this man is a convicted felon, effectively.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين. Brother and sister, this is your holy book. You see? This has been happening in the corner for years. If we pray, we are not allowed to pray because we are terrorists. If we pray in the corner.
No, you're not allowed to pray because you're a terrorist. It's because no one is allowed to pray at Speaker's Corner. No one. Buddhists, Hindus, Christians, and Muslims. The rules apply to everyone, except the Muslims are the only ones who wish to break those rules. That's the only difference.
And this is not hate. This is love. Jesus loves you. Have you ever seen a Muslim drilling in a Bible or not?
Who cares? This argument is so pathetic that because we don't see Muslims drilling holes in the Quran, then we shouldn't. No one else should do it in the Quran. Sorry, if Muslims don't drill holes in the Bible, then no one should drill holes in the Quran. No, that rule doesn't work like that. No one cares. If you want to buy a Bible and drill 1 billion holes in it, go ahead, Omar. Go ahead, any Muslim who wants to drill holes in any Bible or any Buddha, Bhagavad Gita or Guru Granth Sahib, whatever the hell you want. No one cares. It's not your property to steal.
Okay.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, just play the video. Let's make the point because we need to work with this. We need to go for the list.
Have you ever seen a Muslim insulting any prophet? This is the beauty. This is the beauty of the kuffar. Someone passed this to me, I'm gonna give it to him back. This is the love. Jesus loves you. Read some history. Read the verses when Allah described the non-Muslims. وَمَا نَقَمُوا مِنْهُمْ إلا أن يؤمنوا بالله العزيز الحميد. They only hate you because you believe her.
Has he made his point?
Yeah. I mean, the point was to show that obviously, it's the Muslims. They're the thieves here.
Okay, let's just dissect this Hatun situation. So, why did Hatun think it's okay to drill holes in the Quran if she knows that it's going to offend Muslims? I mean, isn't that inciting some level of hatred?
Obviously she's going to rattle some cages, but obviously the whole thing is drilling holes. It comes from the as Yasser Qadi issue. Sorry, let me go close my window. People are playing.
So my point is, just because you can do something, it doesn't necessarily. Sorry, did you want to go close your window?
No. I was saying, can you hear the music playing outside?
No.
In that case, then leave it. Don't worry. It's just there were some people playing music.
Just because she can do it, and obviously she can do it, and she did do it, doesn't necessarily mean that she should have done it on a moral basis. It's quite clear that if anybody drills a hole in the Quran for a community that regards that book as the most important thing in their lives, they're going to be offended. So why did she have the need to do it? I don't get, what was the point to be proven that she can do it?
Well, I believe the point is, number one, that yes, she can do it. Number two was to try to in a provocative manner bring to the surface the question of the holes in the narrative. What are these holes in the narrative? And the holes in the narrative is basically goes to the fact that Muslims claim there is only one Quran, and that is simply not true.
You don't have to drill holes in it, do you?
Well, that's the way she wishes to express it. I mean, that's the whole point.
So do you agree it was needlessly OTT?
I don't really judge based on that. I don't think it's up to me. It's up to each individual to feel that if this is necessary or not. If I took a book of Karl Marx and drilled holes like that in it, no one would have any problems. There'll be no communists trying to kill me for it. There'll be no communists trying to, there'll be no Chinese and former Soviet Russians to try to take my head off.
Yeah, but this group of people, they haven't reached that point of enlightenment.
Well, this is the thing,
to realize the similarities and the differences, and that they can be above this. So if Hatun knows that, right, let's assume that she does, again, she's inciting it.
The fact is that, Manny, you're now inciting or implying the thing that Majid Nawaz quotes as the soft bigotry of low expectations. So what you're actually saying in your very sort of Western middle class way is that these people are savages. They can't control themselves in the manner befitting of a British citizen, and so we have to now accommodate the we have to consider them as lower less behaved individuals, less people who are lesser able to control themselves and their urges and their angers, and so we have to now accommodate them rather than them elevating themselves to the level in which they don't get so triggered over such things. Where do you want to go with this? Do you want to drag the society down to the level of the savage Muslims who can't control themselves in a place known as Speaker's Corner, who they know literally there are signs telling them that there's going to be provocative things happening here? Or do you want the society to drag these people up to the level in which they won't behave that way? It's entirely up to you and everyone else in society. Clearly we can see the police. We can see how the police wish to literally accommodate the bad behaviors of we'll get to the police. The Muslims.
We'll get to the police, right? But just to touch on my point. So you can make the same point that Hatoun is trying to make with the Muslim community without destroying their book. Like I said at the beginning, they haven't reached that point where they understand the things or the aspects of life as, say, for example, you, Banksy. But by discussing the contents of the book or of any book or any religious book, you can still make the same point.
Clearly not. I mean,
you don't go around drilling holes in the Quran, and you can make the same level of point without doing so.
I make the points that I make in my own particular way. I make fun of Muslims. I make fun of Islam. I joke about various different Muslims. Even I myself was attacked by Muslims at Speaker's Corner for the way I address Islam and for the things I say about Islam. And so,
who attacked you on that basis?
Well, Zubaydah. And her savage Egyptian boyfriend.
Zubaydah attacked you on the basis that you ridiculed her, and
the fact that I ridicule and I ridicule all the Islamic things she said, and I ridicule the way she says things about Islam, how she tries to talk about her knowledge of Islam. I ridiculed her about the fact that she supports child marriage, and I've got her on footage where you questioned her, Manny, about child marriage, and she says that it's okay to have a 9-year-old marry a 50-year-old man. So I ridiculed her for those things, and I got attacked for it. And the same as Hatoun. She ridicules Muslims and she gets attacked for it as well. Now, again, we all have our different ways of expressing ourselves. If you notice, Bob the Builder doesn't do what Hatoun does. Even Jay Smith himself on his video says, I wouldn't do that and I wouldn't recommend for you to do that. But this is how Hatoun has chosen to do this. And by the way, David Wood is now going to carve out 3 new Qurans with those same patterns and send it over to Hatoun. So she'll have 3 more Qurans destroyed. Because of Muslims stealing her Quran today on Sunday, 3 more Qurans are now going to be destroyed in the same manner because they forced David Wood's hand. But what I'm saying is, it's not up to us to judge.
Okay, we've got a lot to cover, Banksy, right? So, first question, and everybody else can join in and say their verdicts. My point is that Hatoun can make all the points she wants without destroying a Quran, even though she has a right to do so. I don't think there's much need to do that. That's my personal opinion. Banksy is saying, go ahead. If you have a Quran and you want to destroy it, go ahead and do it, right? So I would say that because of the menace involved from Hatoun, that Hatoun is as right as she is wrong. Where do you stand in one sentence, Banksy?
Whether she's right or wrong?
Yeah. Do you think she's added positivity to Speaker's Corner, or do you think she's imposed some negativity?
I think she's in a place that you're supposed to be free and have freedom of speech. Then you have to be able to do anything as inflammatory as it may be, but nevertheless, it's offenses taken, not given. Hatoun can present whatever she wants, and it's up to the public to decide how to react to that. And if the certain groups of people like the Muslims at Park can't handle that kind of thing, they should either leave Speaker's Corner or ignore Hatoun. You can just ignore her. You don't have to do anything. That day, nobody was actually even talking to her when they decided to steal her Quran. They came from behind and they took it because this is how they wish to behave, and they want to show as if they run this place. That's what the Muslims do. They want to show that they have power and dominance over that corner.
Okay, all right, fine. So from judging by the comments, judging by what I've said and what you said, it seems like between the three of us, the third person being the chap, that the majority states that Hatoun has not brought, she's brought more positivity than negativity to the pack. So she, in this conversation, has been regarded as not to have ruined Speaker's Corner. So let's go over to the police, right? So while I was at the 150-year anniversary speeches at Speaker's Corner, up popped one of the main people that I think helped destroy Speaker's Corner over the years. Former PC, now climate activist and Extinction Rebellion spokesperson, by the sounds of it, PC Steve Barnes, came up and waffled a lot of rubbish, in my opinion. 50% his speech was great, but when he started talking about fake climate change and the rest of it, that's where it really irked me, because a police officer is not supposed to be a member of any political or secret group. They ask you that and they clarify that point with you when he joined the police, right? So how he got away with it is beyond me. But he was the main police officer in charge of Speaker's Corner Hyde Park, and he was the main officer that ensured that when mobs, and unfortunately there were mobs of Muslim men, surrounded non-Muslim men, then the bullied and the harassed and the abused person would be taken away and not the groups of Muslim men. Now, he did explain that that's one of the policing procedures, but what PC Barnes failed to do, well, he failed to do a lot of things. For example, he didn't look after free speech. So the fact that he was invited by Steve Atheist to give a speech, I thought it was ludicrous, but he has a soft spot for him. We know that anyway. But my opinion is PC Barnes is one key member that's ruined Speaker's Corner over the years. Your opinion, Banksy?
Well, I mean, I would like to hear your justification on why he ruined Speaker's Corner, because, I mean, I think his policing, although flawed, because he had to work within very, very tight sort of parameters, he was the only... I mean, look at the difference now. You think Hatoun would have been arrested for having her property stolen if PC Barnes was there? You think that it would be better or worse on Sunday the way Hatoun was treated by these, effectively jobs... what's it called? Jobs worth kind of police officers.
Before nothing.
No, absolutely, he would, because he was in touch. He knew what's going on. He knew what the different police officers, different people behaved. The Muslim groups,
smoking drugs at Speaker's Corner.
No, that's
drinking alcohol and then joining the main corner and getting into arguments and debates. What did he do about that? Drill music being played. What did he do about
No. The fact is that even during that time, this is the irony, during the time when gang, the Respect and the sort of, I would say, more nefarious groups were there, like, Gang and Jedi and all those guys who were the dope smokers and there was never a stabbing when PC Barnes was policing Speaker's Corner. If Hatoun's books have been stolen on the PC Barnes watch, I don't know if they ever were.
There's no evidence to say that this steady rise of aggression and violence that he could have done anything about. I mean,
no.
That's like saying there was no stabbings in the 70s, and therefore the people that lived in the 70s had something to do with that. You can't.
But the stabbings were no. The fact is that
stabbings in the park. And he will tell you that.
Where? In the 70s?
No.
No, all I'm
Steve
saying is
Barnes
during that period of Speaker's Corner when PC Barnes was there, things were I think much better.
You got threatened to be stabbed. I saw it with my own eyes. I heard it with my own ears. You were threatened to be stabbed.
Well, people may have said something like that. I don't know. I myself never witnessed it. But what I'm saying is, when PC Barnes was there was a police presence. At least today, on Sunday, there was literally no police to be found. The time when Hatoun got stabbed in the face, the police were sitting in their car.
There was never a consistent police presence. They would come when they would feel
PC
like
Barnes was fairly consistently there, at least from the morning until the evening.
He was there sometimes. That's it. Just like there's police sometimes there.
No. I don't. I mean, the only times, when you say sometimes, I think you mean maybe the times he was off work, or if he had, because towards the latter years before he retired, he was suffering from ill health. That's why he took early retirement. But nevertheless, he was much more in tune with what is going on at Speaker's Corner, and he was much more.
It's pretty clear for me to see over the years the violence, the aggression, and the abuse has just been increasing over the years. It's got nothing to do with him being there, not being there. All I know that when abusive men surrounded innocent people practicing their free speech, him and his policing made sure that the abused would be dragged away. Just like, I mean, what we saw with Hatoun, sorry, I beg your pardon, Hatoun. What we saw with Hatoun on Sunday is just an extension of what he incorporated. The only difference is they dragged Hatoun away in a more aggressive manner. That's the only difference.
I don't know. It's I find no eyes. Did you not see I mean as I said since
Hatoun previously,
look,
and there is
since
all the other people that were asked to leave,
all I can say,
escorted from the park.
I've seen those, but also PC Barnes banned a lot of people like Omar, Ratboy Omar, and Modine, and he had no. They had them like 6 months at a time. No, they were like 5-6 months at a time, sometimes a few weeks, depending on what they did. But nevertheless, when PC Barnes was there, the Hatoun never got a smack in the face, never got stabbed, and when he left, all of these things happened. And I think that the aggression from the Muslims is actually being ramped up, and the Muslims are recognizing they can get away with these things more and more as the days are going by. And I think the level of aggression from Muslims are going to continue to rise.
He's an amazing copper.
I'm not saying, I mean, he had a very difficult job. But the fact is, and the Muslims complain, by the way, of PC Barnes not, taking their quote-unquote side enough times. But the fact is that when he was there was at least one stable police officer that you could talk to that was that understood the players on the field, the speakers and the different groups. Whilst right now the police have no idea which each group is. Their instinct is to pander to the effectively the bully pulpit, and so what you saw on Sunday was a prime example of police who have no idea who's who at Speaker's Corner. They literally came and asked a Muslim guy, "Is this her?" And the guy pointed and said, "Yes, that's her. She's wearing a Charlie Hebdo t-shirt and she's causing violence here." And boom, they arrested her. When literally minutes ago she was a victim of a robbery. So that's the thing. That's your sort of give and take.
Okay, fine. You said your piece. I think PC Barnes and the police, or the police in general for sure, have made Speaker's Corners worse. So my vote is that the police have ruined Speaker's Corner to some degree. Where do you stand, Banksy?
It's a very hard situation. You can't not have policing.
Make a decision.
No, but the thing is, it's nuanced. It's not simple. You can't not have policing, but the police themselves can be a source of the problem themselves. They can actually make the situation worse. But you can't say not have police there. You got to have police. It's clearly you got to have police. I think you've got to have.
Judging by some of the comments in the chat, and you being on the fence and me being pro police being ruined, I think we can conclude with that the police have helped ruin Speaker's Corner. So thanks, PC Barnes. So we were talking about the likes of gang. Now the likes of gang used to surround people with masks and handkerchiefs around their faces. Unless I'm mistaken, that's got nothing to do with free speech and Speaker's Corner. I mean, I've never had an issue with any members of those guys personally, but I can't see how that type of behavior would have helped Speaker's Corner whatsoever, and these intimidation tactics that was played out by those guys. What's your opinion?
I don't understand what you're getting at. I mean, because as far as masks are concerned, there was a whole Palestinian group who were wearing these Persian Immortals masks. No, actually, I think it was either that or it was the anonymous masks. They were wearing all sorts of these masks, screaming and shouting only last year. And the police actually stopped that. They banned them from coming with those gears, with those masks and wigs and all of that, because they were completely disguised and they were very, very aggressive in their behavior. So the police actually stopped those masks. But of course, in the last 2 years, with everybody wearing, medical masks, you can't stop people from wearing masks because it's literally part and parcel of British life now. People can wear masks at any time. They can just simply say they're worried about COVID.
They weren't wearing masks because there was a virus going around. They weren't wearing masks to intimidate people.
Well, yeah. I mean, the fact is, we all know that someone who wants to cover up their face, there's usually because they're about to do something illegal. So that's the reason why they don't want to show their face. And most of the gang members, they didn't want to be in front of those cameras. There's still a few people who go around with balaclavas in Speaker's Corner. But for the most part now, anyone can wear a medical mask, one of those, face nappies, and no one can really say anything about it because it's a medical thing now. So effectively, complaining about people wearing masks is useless.
When they were surrounding certain people, they weren't doing it for any surgical. They were doing it for intimidation. So but
that was 2018, 2019. But now you got to deal with things that are now.
Forget now. My point is that contributed. I believe that contributed to the downfall. This continuous downfall of Speaker's Corner, where it's been demoted from a place of debate of free speech into basically one cult against another cult.
Look, the way I see it is, I don't see this downfall. I think a lot of people are hyperbolic about this. Raj, about, they're going to shut the park down. The parks, I've talked to, and I've listened to police officers and other people talk about history of Speaker's Corner. There were punch-ups much worse than that at Speaker's Corner, and the park has never shut down. We had a stabbing of an individual, attempted murder at the park last year. They never shut the park down. So a few Muslims getting rowdy or stealing a Quran isn't going to get the park shut down. The only scenario that I can see that will actually shut Speaker's Corner down, and that will probably be in a temporary sense, is that if an actual gang warfare, like 20 on 20 or 10 on 10 fight breaks out. Not if 2 or 3 people. I mean, have you seen Big T get beaten up? Have you ever seen, Big T? You don't know Big T? Dude, you really are not keeping up with Speaker's Corner. There's a guy called Big T. He's, big trouble. I think he's Iranian. I'm pretty sure he's Iranian with his accent. He's a Shia Muslim who comes and talks a lot of shit.
I know.
He wears the beret.
I'm sorry, I don't know every single name that ever enters the Speaker's Corner on a Sunday. Certainly
you're not keeping up.
A name like Big T, Big C or anything like that. But had you described the individual as being a brother of yours from Iran and him standing there, another one Happy.
I'm sorry, you don't have your finger on the pulse.
So much aggression. I mean, what's he barking on about? If you've got to make a point,
point. He talks about Ahlul Bayt. No, he talks about the Shia hadiths and the fact that Aisha was actually with Omar bin Khattab planning to overthrow Ali and take away his rightful leadership because Muhammad wanted Ali to be the next Khalifa, and they stole that effectively off him and then put themselves and their family as the leaders of Muslims for generations to come. And this is why the Sunnis kiss Omar and Omar bin Khattab and all of these other caliphs ass constantly, and the Shias clearly don't agree with that, and that is why that is the kind of rhetoric that Big T talks about, and he gets literally attacked by the Muslims for it. Muslims are incredibly aggressive towards Shias, and not just Big T. Big T is one example. Many other Shias have come to Speaker's Corner and tried to talk about Shiism.
That's the negativity that the Muslim community brings to Speaker's Corner. They're not just fighting most of the non-Muslims. They're fighting between themselves, different types of Muslims. So that's a foregiven conclusion. So before we go on to Raj, because Raj is absolutely desperate, we talk about him. So we'll do that next. But in terms of men wearing balaclavas, as we've seen at Speaker's Corner, for me, it's a negativity. Doing all that, I think something should have been done about it. I can't see what's free speech, Speaker's Corner got to do with groups of men surrounding other men in terms of intimidation with balaclavas around their faces. What's your vote on it?
As I said, I don't think you can stop people wearing masks. Certainly, you can stop them like they did with the masked Palestinian supporters who were very, very intimidating and were fully covered with wigs and masks and everything. So police can stop people like that, but I don't think you're going to ever stop medical, surgical type masks, because that's the way of Britain now, and I think that's going to be like this for many, many years to come.
All right, so let's talk about Raj Speaker's Corner. So with Raj, really he represents a certain group of people, right? You included, Banksy, right? So these type of people, you guys won't necessarily, or Raj won't stand up on a platform and speak and share any level of knowledge, but he will get into arguments and he will get into debates. Again, very similar to you, Banksy, but he's a little bit more advanced with these types of things. Now, I never understood about you guys, especially Raj. How can you have an argument / debate about anything and everything? I don't get it. I mean, how much kind of clutter do you guys have in your head where you can just turn up, roll up, walk up to a group of people, especially Raj, and have an opinion about what they're talking about?
Well, I mean, it all really depends. This is the weird thing. People think I've gone to Speaker's Corner for like debating all the time. In fact, I've only debated a handful of times because my intentions were never go to Speaker's Corner to debate people. I went there I wanted to become a silent cameraman at most times, and just sort of try to be in the background. What I wanted to do was record Speaker's Corner and then commentate on my day's the day's activities afterwards on my YouTube channel. So my commentating was I never intended to debate Muslims or debate Christians there and then. I heckled a few, but then idiots like Zubaydah showed up and started spouting moronic opinions, and then said things like, come to Speaker's Corner and call me a thought. And I was like, I'll take that challenge. I'll buy that for $1. And so I became a person in front of the camera a little bit more because of those types of individuals. But for the most part, I had no intention, and I still don't have any intentions of debating. Like my debate with Abbas about the age of Aisha, I had no interest in debating them. I was interested in them telling me these are the methods God sent down on how we analyze and determine a girl or a boy mature enough to get married. They never answered that question, by the way. They just waffled on and became verbose and took up 2 hours of my life. But nevertheless, I don't go to Speaker's Corner to debate people. I went to Speaker's Corner to record and to commentate on the day's events. That was my intention. I just happened to fall because my mouth, science checks that my ass sometimes can't cash, and I ended up debating with Respect and a few others.
So you see, Raj is kind of a special entity when it comes to a regular or one of the leading members of Speakers Corner, and that is because he was one of the leading members to bridge the gap between Speakers Corner, the park, and the online YouTube world. He bridged that gap very well, and there were arguments and debates and many other things that were coming from Speakers Corner, and then going onto YouTube and then going back, and there weren't debates, there were arguments, and they were settling scores, and they were confronting things. I mean, don't get me wrong, there were some amazing examples of when they were right. Raspek's takedown of I can't remember the chap's name. His foot swelled up when he denied something. I mean, that was one of the most amazing moments of Speakers Corner. Even though there was no debate, it was just a case of attacking somebody, though be it with evidence. So Raj is one of the main people. Saeed, that's it. Thanks, Samem. So Raj is one of the main people that kind of helped create or certainly promoted that aspect of Speakers Corner, and I don't think there was any positivity to that at all, because it became an environment of zero debate and zero listening and zero interaction, something which PC Barnes mentioned in his speech the other day. On that part of it I did agree, but I can't see how we could conclude that aspect of Raj. I mean, don't get me wrong, Raj is a very good debater, and he can speak well, and he brings up really good points, and a lot of which most people agree with. But this aspect of YouTube to Speakers Corner to YouTube, I don't think that helped Speakers Corner whatsoever.
The cameras, there's been an endless debate about whether these cameras and the YouTube aspect of Speakers Corner has caused the degenerate sort of cycle of degeneracy in the park, or generally, creates a situation in which people are two-faced effectively. There are people who say one thing in front of cameras and then say something in private, and that's the other part of Speakers Corner where a lot of people don't recognize, is that there is conversations that have never been recorded which are very different to your typical Speakers Corner on camera nonsense, and even people like Mohammed Hijab and Ali Dawa actually behave differently when they're on camera and when they're not. So whether the cameras have ruined Speakers Corner or not, I think that debate is still, the jury is out on that particular one. I haven't concluded that, because I myself started going to Speakers Corner because of the YouTube videos that I saw, because of Titans TV, because of COE and Raj and Tan. So these people were the ones who encouraged me to go to Speakers Corner. So how many millions of others or thousands of others have gone to Speakers Corner because they watched it? I saw a man once come up to atheist Steve, and started shaking his hand and talking to him. And the man lives in like British Columbia, Canada, and he was in the UK as like a tourist, and he knew Speakers Corner people because he'd been watching them online for so long. So I think the benefits, the fact that it has allowed Speakers Corner to become this international phenomena rather than just a local London thing or a British thing, I think the cameras have definitely helped in that, and it's a positive. But it has also encouraged people to behave in a more exaggerated manner for the cameras.
Okay, so we've been joined by Raj. Let me just see if it's him. Raj, is that you?
Kedar. Of course it's
Kedar.
Yeah, Kedar. Yeah, how you going? Interesting take, man.
Namaste.
Interesting take on history. Obviously, history is your story. Yeah, his story.
His story.
I'm going to give my story. Obviously, yeah. I mean, in hindsight, looking back at certain things, I'm like, okay, maybe that was counterproductive or productive. But I was in an environment where, like, you cannot be some wallflower who's going to let yourself be violated. You're just going to get munched up and chucked out. So I had to sort of kind of transform into what you might consider to be the originator who just went in freaking guns, and people are still traumatized. Even now, Jordan M on the live stream was talking about me walking around with a little Father Christmas in 2018 saying Shirkmas, yeah? So people are still traumatized by the way I did it. Now, whether you agree with my tactics or not, people listen, right?
I mean, I'm just gonna help your ego a little bit.
Yeah.
But Banksy made a very good point about you and your ability to live stream, and he said, "Who else can do a 3-4 hour live stream by themselves with the number of viewers you can generate when you're doing it?" And you can't help but agree with that. I remember that whole Shirkmas Christmas thing that you were doing, dude. You were getting, I don't know how many.
All right, so let me explain a tactic.
It was very entertaining.
All right, so let me explain a tactic that I use, which I'm not going to use no more. You know, being the joker and a bit of a clown is very, very helpful when people want to beat you up, because you can just like, oh, I'm just a silly dude, innit? Oh, don't take me seriously, but the message was still coming across. People still would repeating some of my catchphrases, even though I was doing it in a very silly way. Like, I don't really do that kind of stuff, but I did it because I thought, okay, this is a way for me to kind of like protect myself in a way, because if they think I'm not threatening in a kind of physical way or any other way, but just think I'm a bit silly, I can say as much as I want in it. So even when I went to Speaker's Corner, like, I would do the silly little things. I'm like, okay, this gonna, and they say, oh, Raj, you're a bit of a joker. Even people that hated me found me funny, didn't they? Even people that hated me will say, Raj, yeah, I don't like you, but yeah, you're pretty funny with what you do. Now, the thing is, when it comes to the whole situation about Speaker's Corner as of today, I'm going to disagree with you with Steve Barnes. Yeah. Now, I'm not here to defend Steve Barnes, because there's been times I've cursed that guy to high heavens, in like just literally to loads of people. I thought he was doing XY things, and I thought it was counterproductive. But in hindsight, I understand now why he did certain things. Yeah. Do you mind if I just elaborate on that? Because I don't want to take over the show, obviously, like I normally do.
Yeah, don't take over the show, but sure, give us.
Yeah. So the first thing I've got to say is that he wasn't perfect. He made some mistakes. Yeah, and I would count. I've seen some of the mistakes he made because he did it to me. But there was one thing I said in my great speech, which will go down in YouTube and Speaker's Corner history, that you never reviewed, obviously, that when it comes to this situation, he did care about Speaker's Corner. Whether you believe that or not, he would pick the phone up and he would talk to you. He would listen to all sides, and he was doing meetings and stuff like that. One of the things that I used to find frustrating at the time, but now I understand why they did it, was so he'd have a conversation with me and he'd kind of say one thing to me and then say one thing to the person that was I had an issue with. I'll give you an example. Saeed LED was a laptop, sorry, yeah. But we would have the conversation. So in order to diffuse a situation, sometimes you've got to kind of placate both sides and say, okay. So I'd be like, okay, Steve was on my side. Then I'd hear something. And I'd be like, hold on a second. Hold on. Saeed saying that he said XYZ. I was like, all right, this is very sly. But then I realized that it did resolve a lot of issues in the overall scheme of things, because he was friends on all sides. Everyone thought he was for them at that time. Yeah. And it did work. No one really got hurt during that time, even though there was massive altercations. No one got a knife was never pulled. Now what I see with Speaker's Corner, and this is where things have changed very drastically from Steve Barnes' time, people were too scared to touch you. They would really think about pushing you and stuff because they knew that they might get pushed out the park or whatever. Now they don't care. They really don't care. They'll push you. They'll do this because they know the police is totally inactive. And can I prove that by actually showing you a video of Hattoon, just to go back to it, just to prove to the point of how ineffective the police are when it comes to people assaulting people. When you look at Hattoon and when she was arrested, now I kind of agree with Manny on this up to a point. With Hattoon, I think what's happening now is becoming counterproductive. I think I'm not, look, I know Banks is going to get mad and he's going to say, oh, you're capitulating to the mob. I just think at some point, when you've made your point, that maybe just back off and go, okay, you haven't lost, you've made your point, right? You can wear that t-shirt if you want. No one can stop you personally, but you made your point. How many it's like, what's the definition of man? The definition of man is doing the same thing over and over again and trying to get a different reaction or a different kind of what you call result. So let me just play this. This was on the day, and if you look, right, see this guy here now coming. I'm gonna slow motion it. Watch what he does in front of the police. He gets a sandwich, pushes it into her head, right? Rubs it in. Then, remember, Hatun is handcuffed. People don't realize how torturous these new handcuffs are. Then jumps up like he's Michael Jordan, throws it, yeah, and it hits the officer in the face, yeah. Now that is a criminal offense, right? 100%. You should be arrested for that. I mean, anyone doing that in any of this scenario would have been arrested, right? But you look at the police. Push them back. Let me do this. Yeah, let me pause it. Let me take them. Yeah, push them back. And what do? They let him go. Yeah. And this shows you how biased the police are. Look, watch it again. Bang into her head. Whether you agree with her or not, people assaulting her under police protection is unbelievable. Yeah. The fact that they allowed that to happen and then didn't actually arrest the guy. Yeah. I'm still not sure 100%. What the reason. I heard her on David Woods, and I think she was saying that it was more to do with they were kind of basically accusing her of stealing stuff, even though her stuff was stolen. So, like I said, I'm more with Manny on this. I actually think it's counterproductive, and I know Banksy, you're going to say, "Oh well, don't give in to the mob." I don't think this is about the mob at the moment. I think this is about you've made your point, right? Like, how many times do you need to make the same point? It's been 1.5 years now, 2 years. You've done the point. Like, move on now. Well, I mean, what do you think, though, Banksy?
I don't think so. I think that what Hatun has discovered is this actually works. Every time someone does this to her, every time she gets arrested in this way and exposes, first of all, the police's bias, the fact is that we all know that the police are biased in the park towards the Muslim crowd, or towards whichever is the most loudest and forceful crowd. It doesn't matter. I mean, by the way, when I say Muslim crowd, I don't mean that they're biased. If there was 5 Muslims, they wouldn't be biased towards 5 Muslims. If it was 50 Christians doing that to a Muslim, they would still drag the Muslim away, because the Christians, they wouldn't be able to arrest 50 Christians, but they'll be able to arrest one Muslim or drag that one Muslim away that's being antagonistic. So they do this all the time. I mean, by the way, Big T is another example. When the Muslims attack Big T is a Muslim, but he just happens to be a different faction Muslim. So it's about the mob. It's about the bully pulpit. If you have a mob behind you, they will arrest the guy who doesn't have the mob. But if you don't have a massive mob of people behind you to try to intimidate the police, then if you're the individual being attacked by the mob, you're the one that's going to get dragged away. The police take the path of least resistance.
Yeah. I mean, you saw the video where I'm being pushed about and the police are behind. I mean, the police are really either incompetent or malicious. Now, like I said, I'm all for the protection of freedom of speech. I mean, this is the problem. Like, when you're going to Speaker's Corner, you're voluntarily walking in and you're voluntarily getting offended. Like, if I go Speaker's Corner and I'm saying it's boring every week, it's boring, I keep on turning up every week moaning it's boring, like, I'm the one at fault, innit? I mean, I could be doing more interesting things. It's the same with this. So although I agree that, she should be allowed to do it, is there any point to it now? Like, she's made the point. Like, no one can deny the point has been made, right? Like, she's allowed to do this and the police are trying to restrict her from doing it. The point has been hit over everyone's head. And even this one has proved it as well. In fact, she's proved it time and time again that, violence has been used. The police are ineffective when they think it. And, this can result in people's lives being threatened. I mean, what more does she want now? She's done it, right?
Well, yeah, no, I don't think so. I think because every day there are new Muslims. Dude, do you know Hatun's videos of multiple Qurans? I showed this to an Iraqi atheist friend of mine who despises, has no time for religion anymore. But because he was obviously raised in Iraq, knows about the Quran, knows about the stories about the one Quran. When I told him about the fact that there are more than one Qurans, he couldn't first of all believe it. He argued to death with me about it. Then I had to take him through Hatoon's videos to show that there are multiple Qurans. So every time Hatoon is there exposing the multiple Quran issue, the holes in the narrative issue, and all of these things, there are new Muslims that, or people out in the world who use those videos to challenge new Muslims around the world, even those who don't believe in Islam, to show them that they have been lied to. So as far as the academic work is concerned, I 100% agree with Hatoon's work. The problem is, I agree with you on this part. Her antics, her
can be counterproductive. In fact, her message is now being lost through.
Well,
now let me give an example. I've spoken to the DCCI guys and some of the Christians, and they do have a valid point when I talk to them, because I said, look, just back off. You've done your bit. Whatever you wanted to prove, you proved. They do have a valid point that the Quran mentions the Bible. The Quran is mentioning, from my understanding, Jesus. And so for them, the Quran is more than just some religious scripture that is of a different faith. It's actually a religious scripture which is saying their scripture is a lie.
Well, it's actively lying about the Bible.
It's actively saying that the Bible is a lie. So for them, they don't see it just as some book or some religious thing. So why do they not do it to the Sikh religious books? Why don't they do it to the Hindus or any other ones? Because in there, we're not mentioning these people, right? So they don't have no reason to go against.
It's not even that. It's not even that, Raj. I interviewed Hatoon. Her interview with me is on my channel. She says when she went there, her intentions were to preach the gospel, to try to become an evangelist, just a newborn evangelist type preacher. What she found was Muslims constantly writing questioning Hatoon about the fact that there is no Trinity. There was Muslims who were constantly asking Hatoon or trying to downplay the Trinity and the fact that Jesus is not a God, and that God can't come on earth as a human being, etc., etc.
Worse than that. I've seen all the big Dawa guys, and this ain't nothing to do
mocking.
with they're saying to Christians, you believe your God can go toilet. You believe your God can die.
God came out of a vagina.
And the thing is, we as people from not that faith can't really understand. But when I speak to I'm talking about real believers of Jesus Christ, they do find that extremely offensive. And I think Hatoon is like a product of her environment. I've given it, obviously has to come back to me at some point because my picture's in the thing, and I'm disgraced that my picture was used because it's such an old fat picture of me. Can you use a better, thinner version? There's loads of them from
on the thumbnail.
Yeah, on the thumbnail when I'm thinner. So the point is, when I originally went there because I was somebody who liked Speaker's Corner from the videos, and I was watching, and I was like, let me have a look. I just went there. I swear to God, I never went with the intention of being a regular at Speaker's Corner. That's why I went incognito with my cap on, with the hat, because I thought I don't want anyone to recognize me when I'm walking about, because when you wear a turban, everyone's going to see you from a mile off. So it's only when I was with Daniel that all of these Dawa comes, got Adnan Rashid, Mansour Hashim, and all of those guys. And then I got caught up in the shit. And then I just said one word. I just said one sentence which changed everything. I said, I'd rather live in a Christian nation than an Islamic nation. And I still stand by that. Now, from that, I was polite. I wasn't rude to anybody at that time. I had my opinions. And then I come back the next week and I start getting abused, right? Now,
okay, so let's take a vote. So do we think Raj contributed more positively to Speaker's Corner or more negatively to Speaker's Corner? I would say definitely more positively, even though I think he could have done some things better because he shouldn't have been engaging online.
I agree with you.
I don't think you should have engaged online with
low IQ.
That's what you did, and I think that's been
with
negative. But overall, I think you're a big positive, and I only wish you would go there more often with the new you.
Yeah, but the thing is, look, the new me.
1 minute, we're voting. Banksy.
Raj being a net positive to Speaker's Corner, absolutely. I mean, I went there mostly because of him and Tan and other people like him. So for me, yeah.
Thank you.
Raj, are you going to vote on yourself?
I will say 100% positive. I learned a lot from that place, whether people think it or not. I've learned a lot. I've managed to be able to now publicly speak without getting nervous. There's a lot of things, I've met great people from here, including yourselves. There's people that I would consider to be friends for life. There's things that have happened to me during that time that I can never ever forget. Like when I was getting chased, like taken out the park, and everyone was saying, "We hate Raj." That feeling, that I looked into the crowd with all that hate towards me is unbelievable. Like I've never had the adrenaline like that. It's like being a pop star, right? Like I saw it for like myself being transferred. And so there's so much stuff in that place, good and the bad, that I kind of cherish. Obviously, I've made some mistakes, some big mistakes and smaller ones. And there's certain things that, I wish I didn't say or didn't say. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to live my life with what I should have done. I've done it. All I can do is try and learn from my mistakes and then move forwards. I think the Raj of today, I'll be honest with you, I'm too good for Speaker's Corner, to be honest with you, because there's nothing there for me, Until it starts changing and having more productive conversations, I will find it boring because I don't find the hoo-ha interesting anymore. You understand? The stuff I used to find interesting, I don't find interesting anymore. It's boring to me, right? I've kind of moved on. But like I said about the product being a product of your environment, if you're abused, man, you need to understand, like, when you're being abused and originally you come in there kind of softly, and then you're constantly abused, right? Like I used to have people coming up to me just randomly saying, "Raj, you must have a monkey. Oh, Raj, eat a cow." Or they'd come up and say, "Look, I heard this a couple of times. You Sikhs can't cut your hair until all Muslims are dead, and you have to wash your hair in their blood." And like, after a while, when you're called a cunt and a thingy enough, you're gonna just suddenly like turn back and say, "All right, you want that same behavior, right? You want me to mirror you?" And what I was doing was mirroring the people around me. Yeah, I wasn't. If you look at my original videos, I was not like that. I just mirrored what I was getting.
Okay, so next quick discussion is...
Sorry, Manny, you haven't voted though, did you?
They did.
Yeah, I voted that Raj definitely is more positive.
Okay, so that's it. It's just a panel vote. The audience doesn't.
Most of the audience agreed. Sorry, I've got.
It's legally binding
because once Raj starts speaking, we can't get a word in.
No. Okay. All right.
So 1 minute, Raj. 1 minute, Raj. So the overall conclusion was from everybody, unfortunately, that we all think Raj is definitely more positive. Do you want me to share this, Banksy?
Yeah, I just want to quickly play this this small video by Salman Rushdie, actually. But if you share my screen, and then I'll get into
Raj's ego has just gone literally outside the house.
I don't care about mere mortals' opinion of me.
Yeah, no, it's not about that. Actually, this video, the reason I'm not going to play the video because I don't care about these people and their opinions. What I just want to point out is Abbas is the one in the middle with the grey beard, and he was the one who, throughout this show, this video, which Raj was on the panel for a bit.
I was going to play it as well.
Yeah, but I mean, you can go ahead and play that. I'm not interested in playing this video, but I'm interested in everyone to see who I'm talking about, this Abbas guy. And the fact is that this individual, plus most other Muslims, talk about the freedom of speech as if, when people insult their prophets, that this hurts them deeply because they care about it as much as they do their mother. They're always comparing it to their mother. Number one, religious figures are dead individuals that have been dead a long time ago, and if we can't critique people who've been dead a long time ago, and if you think you're comparing them to your mother, then you've got serious issues. You really should reevaluate how you feel about your mother. But as far as this individual, and actually most Muslims is concerned, is they say it is the honor of our it's not that, and that Dr. Imran was saying to you that your argument against saying that your God is too weak and humans have to protect or defend your God, that's not the point. The point is that they get so hurt when they hear their prophet or their idols being insulted that they feel that they want to lash out, just like they would if you said something bad about your mum. Although actually many people have said bad things about my mother and I've never beaten anyone for it. So that is actually on the record as well. Many people have had Muslims say, "Suck your mother," and "Your mother is qahba," and this and that to their face at Speaker's Corner, and no one's beat them up for it. So this concept of we should beat someone up because they say something about your mother is actually false. You don't beat someone up if they say some shit about your mother. That's actually completely false.
Also, did you hear the thing? Because The reason I wanted to bring, sorry, you got.
No. Let me get through this. Let me get through this, and then you'll have plenty of time. The main thing I want to point out is that they keep talking about honor. My honor, my mother's honor, my family's honor, my religion, my religion's honor. And this is why I want to play the Salman Rushdie clip, because this goes to the heart of there was a guy, I forgot whose name it was. He talked about the clash of civilizations when it comes to Islam and Christendom, or the West and the East. And there is a clash of civilizations. It's a clash of axioms, and this is how Salman Rushdie explains it.
Has at its opposite poles sin and redemption. There's no original sin in Islam. There's no idea of original sin. So the question of sin and redemption doesn't exist. What exists instead at the opposite poles are honor and shame.
Right.
And that's what mobilizes these kind of strong feelings. The trouble with honor culture is, if you look at the way in which it's actually been applied inside the societies which hold to those values, is, first of all, it's been used immensely to oppress women. Mm-hmm. Women are believed to be, oddly, honor is believed to reside in the male, but shame is brought about by the behavior of the female. And so in order to prevent the man from being shamed by the behavior of the woman, you have to stop the woman doing more or less anything. Some of this is ludicrous and comical. I remember at the early days of the Iranian Revolution, when a number of bizarre issues like this were being debated by the Ayatollahs in Qom. One of the questions, this is seriously, this is not a joke. One of the questions that was asked was, if a woman is wearing head-to-toe chadar, but she's wearing Western clothes underneath, she's wearing a skirt underneath, is that okay or not okay? Given that she's completely covered. And all you can see are her eyes. Right? And it was decreed that it was not okay. And the reason it was not okay was that the friction of her thighs against each other inside the skirt would generate sexual heat. And this heat would be transmitted through her eyes to men who observed her and might inflame them in various ways, and that, of course, was not acceptable.
Okay. I'm not gonna go further. I will post a link for anyone who wants to watch the rest of this. It's the reason I wanted to highlight this is to highlight the fact that when Abbas and even to some extent Jordan M., who's an Englishman who was raised in this country, they operate, Muslims especially, they operate on a different axiom to British Christian nations, or actually Judeo-Christian nations who were influenced by Judeo-Christianity and then the Enlightenment and secularism. That's why they can't understand freedom of speech. That's why they can't comprehend it, because to them they are operating on the axioms of honor and shame, whilst the Christian world is operating on sin and redemption. They are operating on completely different axioms. They come from different worldviews. And that is why Muslims will never understand freedom of speech. That's why there is no single Muslim nation that truly has any kind of freedom of speech or freedom of expression, because they can't. They don't know the fundamentals of it, because their worldview doesn't have anything of that sort.
They live in a different paradigm.
They come from a different paradigm. They can't understand you when you're talking about freedom of speech.
Right,
they don't know what you're talking about. They're not speaking your language on freedom of speech.
But Banksy, so if you listen to the full conversation, I think it was a pretty good conversation. I think it was simple. Now, one of the biggest problems now, I didn't go unprepared. I actually went on just to invite Jordan M and some of the Muslims to the Speaker's Corner thing. Now, they made a claim which is totally a lie. Now, one of the claims is that mocking Prophet Muhammad or doing caricatures is like what they did in Nazi Germany, and it's anti-Semitism. It is protected under anti-Semitism, that you can't do these kind of things. Now, you can mock Moses, and it's open. You can mock Abraham. You can mock Adam. None of the religious figures of Judaism is covered. I've looked into now the legal definition of anti-Semitism. And so it's 100% not covered. Same with the Sikhs. We have protection, but none of our religious figures have protection. Now, this is the problem with these guys, that because they speak smart. And do you mind if I play the video? I'll do it on double speed though. It's like 3 minutes.
What video?
From Jordan Ems. I don't know if you can play it.
No, I don't want to listen to any pedophile supporter.
Well, it's not just that. He may copyright strike us. That's why I only showed the image. I never played the video.
So let me just make it clear. So the conversation, they made some points about, okay, incitement to violence. And I agree, incitement to violence is wrong. But then they started to equate the Holocaust and what happened in Nazi Germany to what's happened with Prophet Muhammad's caricatures. Now, they want, the similar laws, they said, the anti-Semitic laws applied to Muslims. Now, the problem with that is none of the religious figures, if you look into the anti-Semitic laws, are covered under that law. So they want a totally different law. So
they want blasphemy laws. They don't want anti-Semitism laws.
So my question to both of you and everybody in the chat as well, has there been any Muslim that's come to Speaker's Corner, certainly of late, that's added to Speaker's Corner in a positive way?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple. There's quite a few. Unfortunately, a lot of them are not on camera. I've met some like real.
No, when I say come to Speaker's Corner, we're talking about the people that become public figures like you.
Right.
We're not talking about somebody that's holding up a microphone for another camera guy. We people that go there to speak.
No, they do speak, but they don't like to be recorded. I've met a couple of them. They're like, okay.
Yeah, we're not interested in them because anyone that hides their face they're not brave enough to show their face and honor what they're saying. Then it's irrelevant. So
I mean, I'm going to go with
perhaps we can just go around and not just one person discuss it. So
yeah, I mean,
what are we saying from the Muslim community added positivity to Speaker's Corner certainly in recent days?
Yeah, I mean, look, the one person that showed me kind of like not respect, but has not been rude to me, even throughout the most kind of like egregious times, was Shamsi. I think Shamsi, whether you agree with him or not, because his views, his kind of silence on Saudi Arabia is pretty damning, if I'm being honest with you. But one thing I realized with Shamsi was that, okay, he didn't agree with me, and he was pretty forthright when he said it. But I remember when I said a couple of years, like when I first went there, because I didn't understand what a Salafi was. I thought they were like terrorists, right? Like automatically. If you're a Salafi, you're like an extremist terrorist. And so I said on the camera, oh, I'm going to put all these Salafis in Guantanamo Bay. Obviously, because my kind of, when I was researching, Salafi meant extremist kind of like ISIS guys. So instead of like, coming at me, bashing me over the head, he just calmed down. I remember standing there, there was like 8 of them, turned up, And they said, Raj, do you want to speak with you? They're all in black and all that. I was like, wow, this is going to go real bad. We just had a conversation quickly on camera, and then we had a conversation for an hour, literally down the road, like literally off the side street with no camera as well. And look, man, they were polite, they were thingy, and the thing is, there was no aggression there, even though they were big dudes. And I went off going, okay, I kind of understand the difference now. Like, you're an orthodox.
Bansi, what do you think?
Well, I mean, I think Shamsi and Adnan Rashid are prolific liars, absolutely proven liars. Adnan Rashid lied in front of my face about not being at that mosque attendance with that guy who's now in prison for terrorism. Sorry, Sheikh Faisal.
Faisal, is it Faisal?
Exactly. I mean, these people are like bold-faced liars, and Shamsi's as well. I've seen it, and I've shown Shamsi for the liar that he is. I don't see them as necessarily negative or positive. I think they add to the tapestry of Speaker's Corner. I think Bob the Builder has done a lot at Speaker's Corner since his arrival. I think COE has been instrumental at Speaker's Corner. Titans TV, Callum is an amazingly insightful individual, and he gets far less credit than he deserves. He is actually Sarah Garvey. I mean, for me, certain aspects of Islam, which I have changed my mind and opinions on, although I still use the stick to beat Muslims over the head with because they're idiots, but they themselves don't realize what they're doing. It's just like Jesus says, "Forgive them, for they not know what they do." Muslims themselves put themselves in stupid positions, like Muhammad Hijab saying that the Quran says that you can marry 5-year-olds because there's no prohibition on that. He doesn't know what he's talking about when he reads his own Quran. Callum showed me that. Callum pointed out that these Muslims, these modern Muslims, literally don't know their own religion or their origin of what the things that are written in their books, and how the Muslims of the time of Muhammad would have read those passages, those surahs, versus how a modern Muslim reads it. And Muslims themselves are constantly saying we can't judge ancient people by modern standards, and yet they have misinterpreted their own book by modern standards versus the original people and how they looked at it and how they read certain passages. But I don't care, because I think that Islam in its totality, not individual segments, is the worst possible idea, possibly second, or no, not even second. I think actually communism comes second to Islam as far as some of the worst ideas that have ever been perpetuated by mankind in a wide, sort of sense. So for me, the less Islam that we have in the world, the better we are.
I mean, the problem
of communism.
Yeah.
We had Rusty do a speech on Monday as well. But Rusty is another negative character who only goes there to
Dusty or Rusty. Dusty.
He only goes there.
Dusty. I think you're talking about Dusty. Yeah.
On Monday during the 150th anniversary speech, that he took the opportunity to attack Steve. I mean, he wasn't the only one that was making speeches about personal attributes. I didn't think it was the time or the place or the event to do that. But I've seen Dust, whatever that stupid name is, let's just call him Dusty the Clown. He does that a lot. He gets onto a platform and he just attacks people personally, and it's that type of thing I think has contributed to Speaker's Corner and the online YouTube world of Speaker's Corner, where people are just attacking individual people. They're not really attacking the politics, the argument, and the debate. And I think it was Socrates that said that idiots discuss people, intelligent people discuss ideas. And I think that's the difference between people that bring positivity to Speaker's Corner and those that bring negativity to Speaker's Corner, because the negatives are people are just attacking other people, and they shouldn't even be anywhere near Speaker's Corner. Gentlemen, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, look, I agree. I mean, I'm partly to blame for this as well in terms of things. I think a lot of us should take responsibility. I do think that, there is a place for hecklers, yeah, like even Dust has a place. The hecklers are part and parcel of Speaker's Corner as the speakers. And sometimes it can get personal when you have a kind of a personal dislike to somebody and certain things about them that, maybe you feel like you have to kind of expose, and it starts to look like you're being personal with them. But it's just something that, it's going to happen when you're in that confined space for that amount of time. But the problem here is that, with Speaker's Corner, it's just, look, it's a place where people are literally going there without any force. You have a choice to go there, and to go there and then complain that you hate it and then keep on going back. It just doesn't make sense. Like I said, I find it boring. Now, if I kept on going there every Sunday and kept on going every Sunday and kept on saying it's boring, who's at fault? I'm at fault, right? Because I'm wasting my time on something that I find boring, but I'm complaining about it being boring. Just don't go. And the other thing is that, look, if you want to propagate your religion to such a degree that you're going to go Speaker's Corner and you're going to go over it, don't complain when people start picking stuff out. You understand? When they start critiquing and maybe even up to some point mocking, because that's going to happen. The same things would happen to Sikhs. I guarantee you, if Sikhs start going Speaker's Corner in big droves and start to kind of saying our religion this, our religion, you'll have people coming in the week after mocking them probably, or even trying to debunk them, right?
Well, if a bunch of Sikhs showed up at Speaker's Corner and started talking about how Jesus never existed or how Jesus was this or that, then of course you're going to expect Hatun will have some holes drilled in the next Guru Granth Sahib, and she'll be holding that up. or whatever text there is. By the way, Manny, I don't know whether Socrates said this or not, but I know Eleanor Roosevelt said, "Great minds discuss ideas, average minds discuss events, small minds discuss people." That's the quote that I always look to. But as far as I think personally there should be more Sikhs, there should be more Hindus, there should be more Buddhists. And by the way, any time Hindus showed up, and in fact the other week when you were there, Raj, yourself, you saw how Muslims talked about Hindus and their beliefs, right? You saw the racism towards Hindus, right?
Yeah, but it's worse than just the racism. Like, remember the guy that that I confronted afterwards?
Yeah, the bald guy.
He was telling Hindus that it's okay to destroy your temples because our laws say it. Now, the same argument, if you try and twist it on them, they go crazy. It's like, why is it okay for you under your laws to destroy Hindu temples, but when China or any other country that deems it to be against their laws do it, it's done oppression? They're both oppression, right?
Of course, but this is the hypocrisy of these people. Is that when we do it, it's okay. It's okay when we destroy your churches, your temples, your places of worship. We call you a dirty cow worshipper and how you're a pagan and you're disgusting. That's okay when we call you a kafir. By the way, all the Arabic words they use are derogatory terms towards the non-believer. But it's okay when we do it. But when you do it, when you use derogatory terms towards our prophet, and not even us, our prophet, and that's the other thing about Abbas is complete apples and oranges comparison between the Holocaust and the propaganda the Germans used against Jewish people versus Muhammad and his and what Muslims want, which is blasphemy laws. The fact is, no single Jew has ever killed or punched or beaten anyone up at Speaker's Corner when they discussed Moses or drew cartoons of Moses. I could walk into Speaker's Corner with Charlie Hebdo cartoons of Moses, which there are, every day, and not a single Jew will even argue against me. They won't even raise an eyebrow over it. But if I do it for Muhammad, then we see the difference. So Muslims don't want anti-Semitic laws. They want blasphemy laws.
That's what I was saying.
That is the difference between what Muslims want versus what Jews want. Because when the Jews were being propagandized against and dehumanized, that was them. They were dehumanizing Jewish people, not Moses, not Abraham. And yes, you made that point very well.
So I'm gonna obviously do it on my own show because I'm gonna play the thing. I'm gonna prove categorically, like what they were saying was either they were outright kind of just didn't understand, which I don't believe, or they're outright lying. Because when you look at the propaganda against the Jews, it was very specifically against the people, depicting people as kind of like running the world, this hungry kind of Jew, with their hands around the world. There was no depictions that I could find of Moses, of any of the religious figures in the anti-Semitism. So they were trying to do a false equivalency. Okay, we're upset, and this is a similar kind of equivalency. No, it's not. The people.
Exactly.
If you're doing it against the people or the Muslim people, that's a different thing. But the religious figures, unfortunately, whether we like it or not, are public figures now, open to critique. Although I don't like mocking and that's, I wouldn't like it happening to my religious figures. Trust me. But would I agree with people being hurt and stuff like that? And I'm being honest with you. Have you seen what's happened in India?
Yes. Well, recently, two things happened. Apparently, two Muslims killed a Hindu man because he mocked Muhammad in some way.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't. Hold on. Let me clarify. He didn't mock no one. He said he supported that woman.
The woman who said something, who said that Muhammad married a 9-year-old and all that business. Yeah, and also a young man got arrested on the blasphemy laws in India because a horde of Muslims, and this is the thing, he posted online the comments about how he thinks that these religions are ridiculous and that you should all grow up, effectively. To that effect, I'm paraphrasing. But also, a Muslim mob raided his house, and the police went into his house and then arrested him.
And slapped him as well. Someone slapped him.
Yeah.
There's a video of him getting slapped.
But the thing is, to some extent, I think the police again did the same thing that they did to Hatun, which is they took him out of that dangerous situation. They can't arrest 50
how
Muslims.
but look how silly this is getting now. So there was a guy that wanted that woman to be charged, right? He wanted her to be charged. He is now being charged with incitement to religious tensions. So the law that he was trying against her is now turned on him. And this is where blasphemy laws can be a complete disaster, because everyone will start turning against each other. Oh, you can't critique this. This is blasphemy. So there has to be some kind of, I mean, how can I hold you as an atheist demon to the same standard as, say, like just to somebody from a religion? I can't critique you like that. If you don't agree with my religious figures, what am I going to say to you? I can't say nothing.
This is the thing. This is the thing about these Abbas, and again, I'll go back to that podcast that you were on. The fact is that I don't think Muslims would agree to this, but how about this? How about if we agree no one ever insults Muhammad or any of the holy or the revered characters of Islam, but no Muslim is allowed to give dawah, no Quran is allowed to be read in public, no mosque is allowed to give the azan, no Ramadan or Eid is to be publicly celebrated, no mosques should have any minarets or any domes built upon them. How about if we set all of those up, that no one is allowed to talk about Islam in any shape or form under any capacity? Even Muslims themselves can't talk to other people and try to give dawah or try to convince them that Islam is in any way, shape or form right. They are not allowed to do any of that publicly, but no one can insult Islam and Muhammad either.
I don't know whether, look, the problem is, you know, when you're in this like echo chamber on that channel and everyone's writing in the chat, oh, you're talking shit. When I listen back, I thought 90% of it, I pretty much made a good valid point. One of them was, okay, if you want Prophet Muhammad not to be mocked or ridiculed or anything like that, then the Christians can also ask for the same thing about Jesus, yeah? Now, they're going to then run into a problem, because the Christians can then argue, you're saying Jesus Christ was never crucified and he didn't die for the sins of mankind. He's not God. Now, you can now not propagate your religion and do dawah, right? If they really wanted to push it to the nth degree.
Exactly.
Yeah? If they really wanted to push it, and this is why it's a thing. And even, I'm going to be honest with you, even Sikhs, some Sikhs are getting very, very kind of like, I use the word like, I don't know what to call it. Like, it never used to be like this before, but even some Sikhs in India as well, they've killed one or two people for blasphemy and stuff like that. It's
militant. They become more militant, more fanatical.
I personally believe that, you know, people are kind of watching videos and thinking, okay, the way we're going to show love for our God and our religious figures is to react violently. In fact, for me, it's the opposite. It's actually showing that you're disrespecting our religious figures because they're bigger than that person, right? They're bigger than you, Banksy. I'm sorry. Whatever you say about the gurus or God or the creator, they're bigger than you, yeah? You're insignificant.
Well, they certainly should be.
Yeah, so I'm even worried about this, like, you know, certain Sikhs, especially in India, that it's getting a little bit crazy out there as well. You know,
okay.
Hopefully in the UK, it's not going to be the same.
Okay, so before we do our closing statements, I just want to share an article and why I've been going in hard with the police recently. So I'll read this article. This was the BBC. Met Police put into a form of special measures. The Met Police has been placed into an advanced stage of monitoring in what Home Secretary Priti Patel has described as special measures. Recently, the force has been hit by a series of scandals, including the murder of Sarah Everard, the strip search of Child Q, and the officers being caught exchanging offensive messages. In February, Dame Cressida Dick quit as commissioner. Ms. Patel said she backed the move taken by the HM Inspectorate of Constabulary. The HM blah 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 and Fire and Rescue Services blah 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 said in a statement, "We can confirm that we are now monitoring the Metropolitan Police Service through our Engage process, which provides additional scrutiny and support to help make it improvements." Right, and this is not including crimes such as being part of supporting grooming gangs and being caught, giving information to drug gangs and all these other things that, the Metropolitan Police have been known and suspected of doing. So on this basis alone, we are quickly seeing, in my opinion, that the Metropolitan Police and the British Police are very quickly becoming publicly to having very little difference to third world countries and the corruption in that level of policing. Now, obviously, I'm not saying that the Metropolitan Police are anywhere near as degenerate as Karachi cops from Pakistan or anything, but what I am saying that there seems to be a lot of these things coming up in not just the Metropolitan Police, though of course the Metropolitan Police are the joke of the British police force. I mean, other police forces around the UK literally take the mick out of the Metropolitan Police. That's how bad they are. But we are seeing an increase of this type of thing coming through. Hence why, or one of the reasons why, I don't really have a lot of respect to how Speaker's Corner is being policed. Gentlemen, your thoughts, please.
Well, just before Raj goes off on one, I just want to quickly say that the Metropolitan Police has been politicised, and it's an absolute disgrace. That is why Cressida Dick had to resign, because she was going over Priti Patel's head and going directly discussing these matters with Sadiq Khan, and actually not including Priti Patel in these discussions to do with policing of London. The fact is that even though Sadiq Khan is the mayor of London, the jurisdiction of actually what the police does in all of England and Britain is under Priti Patel. She's the Home Secretary. She has to be has to have the final say over everything to do with policing in the whole of the country. And yet Cressida Dick decided, no, we'll cut out Priti Patel because she doesn't align with her and Sadiq Khan politically, whilst them two politically aligned closer together, and so they went over her head, and that's why she had to quit, because, well, effectively she was going to be fired by Priti Patel, who is her boss. And so this to me is just amplifies and exemplifies the ridiculous situation we are with British policing. British police are more interested in looking for insults on Twitter about pride parades or about whatever particular religious protected group there are than they are about actually arresting a man who stole a thief in Speaker's Corner. They will arrest the person, the victim, over the perpetrator of a crime. This to me, this politicization of the police in Britain has become ridiculous. They've lost their impartiality. They've lost the respect of the British people over the last 2 years of their ridiculous policing of COVID measures. And so I think that whereas before there was a small group of people who would, people like gang and certain factions of society which didn't like the police, now people who were on people like from the Tommy Robinson type or the working class who always respected the police, those who would fly the English and the British flag high, have now come to detest the police. So you will find that society is going to get extremely dangerous when everybody hates the police and no one respects their authority. This is a very, very dangerous precedent that these police officers and the police organization has set in recent years. Go ahead, Raj.
Yes. All right, I'll try and keep it short. Obviously, it's not going to be. Now, obviously, look, I'm in a very difficult position because I am from a religion and I do believe that, in my faith. And, when I do see certain things, I remember, Afghan, he used to put pictures in the back of the Guru getting the most disgusting. And also he did it with the Kaaba, with a dog shitting on it. He did pictures of Prophet Muhammad with children. And he used to put pictures of, certain people's kids on, monkey faces, like bellies. And so, I've seen how these images can hurt. But obviously, at some point, we have to kind of go, okay, these are just stupid little images, isn't it? We have to kind of try and move past it. Even me, I've been caught up in this kind of stuff. Now, when it comes to Speaker's Corner, do I agree with Hatun going there with the at this? I agree with she has the right to do it. I just don't think it's productive no more. If I think something has become unproductive and somebody's already made a point and the point has been hammered home pretty hard, even on Sunday, I think that, to see what happened, what the police done in order to remove her, I think the police have shown that they are curbing or being kind of controlled by the mob. Now, she's made the point. Now, to think of the bigger picture, I think she should kind of I don't want to say the word back down because that sounds bad, but to kind of see the bigger picture and say, okay, I've made my point, let's move on, because the conversation can only go so far when it's constantly being distracted with this. Now, obviously, some people are not going to like what I say because it's going to sound like I'm capitulating to the mob. I don't believe I am. I think being the bigger person is something saying, okay, I've made my point. I've drilled it home literally. And now let's try and, expose them through intellect, right? Let's try and expose them through debate. And let's try and have a conversation and like literally mentally drill the holes into their narrative and all that. You're not physically. So yeah, it's a difficult situation. And I don't know where it's going to lead. I will say the police overall, obviously, I do support the police, and having experienced the American police, I can see they are a lot more better. But over the last few days and in the last couple of months, I think the Speaker's Corner police are an absolute shambles. And what I saw on Sunday, as much as I disagree with what Hatun is doing, she should not be dragged across the thingy with those handcuffs and allowed to be attacked multiple times and then put in a prison, in a police cell for 15 hours without actually committing any offense. Whether you like her or not, the law of the UK is the law of the UK, right? And if the police abuse their powers, they should be called out. And this time they did abuse their powers. So, like I said, free speech is important. I 100% agree. If we go to a slippery road like India or Pakistan and all these, the UK will be a complete shit show. And so we have to still retain free speech. And if Speaker's Corner goes, I think basically it's going to send a message out that there's no free speech left in the UK. So we have to protect it.
Okay, thank you very much, gentlemen. I'm going to play 2 videos on the way out. Do you guys have any final thoughts in regards to today's show, the topic, or anything else?
Change the picture, please.
No.
Don't trust your government. Peace.
Yeah, and question everything. Question everything, man. Anyway, peace. Take care, man. I need to go. Take care.
Thanks for coming on, Raj. Appreciate it, mate.
Thanks for coming, Raj.
I'm never going to pay that bullshit, Jizzy. Not pay no bullshit, Jizzy. Come on. We'll be back. I'll be back. Oh, it's finished.